Hey guys, it's Jen and I'm back with another process video. Today I'm using the Felciity Jane Here's the Scoop August kit, which is super cute. And if you haven't heard already, I am on the Felciity Jane design team starting in September, which I'm really excited about. So check out felicityjane.com if you want to see those kits. I am using these 3 photos of some snow cones, and I have been obsessed this summer with plain snow cones, so no flavoring in them. And I wanted to definitely document that, and Here's the Scoop was perfect because it has like ice cream and summer like cold treats. So I'm going to go ahead and run with that theme. I am layering up 3 strips of paper, pattern paper, on my background, and I started with those clouds at the bottom but moved them to the top because clouds obviously are in the air, and so I wanted to make sure that it was like that on my page as well. I'm also using that really super cute summer patterned paper, which I love, and the back of it is that polka dot pattern that you see. This stencil is my favorite thing of all times, and it might seem like something simple or weird, but oh my goodness, I love that stencil. It's just a thin line. You could use it for journaling lines, and you'll see how I'm going to use it here in a minute. I've just gone ahead and glued down those 3 strips along the center of my layout, and I'm going to use a little bit of gesso to kind of blend the colors out, and I'm going to use a little bit of mixed media, so I'm just giving that kind of a base as well. And I'm just kind of using the gesso with a dry baby wipe to apply it on the where the papers meet each other, and also where the papers meet the white background. The gesso dries with a little bit of a yellowish tint, so it's a creamier color. Than it doesn't dry exactly white, and I'm okay with that. I'm going to use a little bit of Mr. Huey's spray mist, and I'm going to use the color Bazinga. I start out with Splash but decide that Bazinga is a better match. And you can see that little swatch I have on that circle to the right. It just matches a little bit better. So I'm going to use it and just a package, an old packaging, and then I'm just smushing it on. So this has become popularly known as the smushing technique, and I like it. It's a fun way to apply the ink. So I'm just doing it on the top and bottom, and I'm doing it kind of to the right on the top and to the left on the bottom, just a little bit. And I layered my photos on top to make sure that it was everywhere that I wanted it to be. So now I'm going to just dry this up a little bit with my heat gun, and I'm going to dab it a little bit too. And then I'm going to grab some modeling paste and just put it through that stencil, and oh my goodness, this gives like the cutest little thin lines, and it's just a really nice pattern. I love it. Love, love, love it. Can't get enough. I will be doing this over and over on many layouts to come. I saw Missy Whidden use a similar stencil. It was on a bigger stencil, but she used a thin line stencil, and I was obsessed with it. So I was super excited when the kit this month had a thin stencil like that. Like, you cannot even imagine. I know I'm a little bit obsessed with it. I don't care. I love it. So I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of spray mist. This is Heidi Swapp Butter, and it's a nice, soft, pretty yellow. And while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to go ahead and work on my title. So we got this huge package of gold letter stickers from the Maggie Holmes confetti collection in this month's kit, and there are 2 sizes. I'm using the smaller size, and I'm just spelling out the words "so refreshing," because that plain snow cone, that's exactly what it is. So refreshing. It's so much more refreshing without flavoring in it. It's without the sugar, you know. It's just so yummy. I love it. So I just put it on some wax paper so I can move it around because I'm not exactly sure how I want it to go. And just a little side note, I realized that I've got some bright blue in that photo, and the kit doesn't really have a bright blue in it, but I went with the lighter blue because it plays well with it, and it's okay. I think it looks totally fine. There's also that really cute ice cream cone in the kit that the bottom of it is wood, and then the top piece that goes to it is a piece of acrylic, pink acrylic, so it's really fun. And I'm cutting out one of the pieces from the cut apart sheet that says the best part, and it's a circle, so I'm just trimming around the circle. I don't have a punch that's that size. I don't have very many punches at all. So I know I'm going to use that somewhere. I haven't decided yet. And I'm just looking through the cut apart sheet here, and I am going to use on the little cut aparts this month, there are some little half tags, which is perfect because I always almost always end up tucking the tags in somewhere anyway. And so it's just already trimmed down for me, so I don't feel like I'm wasting anything. And you get like 6 tags instead of 3, so it's awesome. So I'm using 2 of those. And then I am trying to decide now how I want to do my journaling. And what I'm going to test here on this side piece of paper is if I can journal between those lines if I use modeling paste. So the modeling paste has dimension, obviously. And so I'm trying to decide whether or not I can fit my journaling within it, because it's a little bit tricky with the dimension. But I'm going to try it. So it's really fast drying, that modeling paste. So I'm using my Muji pen and writing really small between those lines, and I'm going to decide that it will work for me. Sorry, you can see my head there. Had to lean over so I could write. And I kind of have a little bit of bedhead. This is in the morning, so my power was out all day yesterday, and so I had to create this layout this morning rather than Monday, which I normally would have done. Anyway, beside the point, I just added a little bit of that stenciling to the bottom where I will include my journaling, and I'm making sure to wipe off that stencil because I don't want it to, that if that modeling paste dries on there, it's going to be really hard to get off, and I want to make sure I keep that stencil nice and clean. So I'm just using a baby wipe to do that. And now I am going to adhere my photos. So the middle photo is going to be popped up over the top of the other 2 photos, and I'm just using some thin foam adhesive to do that with. And I didn't place the photos straight at all. I'm just making kind of like a little messy line there. And these photos are about 4x4. And I just printed them off on my Canon Selfie, which I love doing. And I'm just lining up the title now on the top right there. And I am overlapping the letters from the paper to the cardstock just to kind of tie everything together. And then I will place the word "so" a little bit to the right because I want to stamp the words "here's the scoop." And I'm going to stamp in black so that I can balance the journaling I'm going to do in black on the bottom. And that's the next thing I will get to here in just a second. So my modeling paste is dry, and I am going to go ahead and start writing the journaling. And I'm just writing about how I was obsessed with the plain snow cones this summer, and it was something we went and got almost every day, and I got my daughter hooked on them too. We just love the plain snow. It's so refreshing. Seriously, if you haven't tried it, try it. It's so good. It sounds crazy, but it's yummy. So yeah, just writing my journaling there, and I am squishing it a little bit, and wherever I have a Y, I'm just starting the Y up a little bit higher, and I'm okay with it, and I kind of like the way that it looks. If you were to use this stencil without modeling paste, if you just used mist or ink or something like that, then you could definitely still write normally, but I was fine with it this way. And that Muji pen has such a fine tip that it was fine. So now I knew that since I started my journaling a little bit below the photos, that I needed something to kind of bridge the gap between the photos and the journaling, and so I'm going to add that little circle from the cut apart sheet, the best part, to kind of bridge that gap so it overlaps the photos and almost touches the journaling. And now I am trying to decide how I am going to embellish. So I thought because I had that big circle, it might be nice to kind of do a bunch of circles in a line down, up and down the right hand side. And I will go with a similar look, but it ends up changing just a little bit here. So I know that I want to include some more stamping, and I also know that I want to include a bit more of that pop of pink color. And so I am just seeing if this is the color that will work for me. It's Hollyhock ink from Close to My Heart, and I stamped the heart this, and I'm thinking about sticking it down at the bottom or up at the top. And I want to separate those 2 pink colors a little bit. So I decide to put it, nestle it in where that journaling is, right where it's sitting now. and I am just looking at some of the other embellishments to decide what to use. I decide to use this heart sticker that has the gold on it so that I can balance the gold title, and it was just holding part of the packaging closed in the kit, so it was the perfect addition, so I go ahead and include that. And then I'm going to include those two little half tags up at the top as well. So I'm just kind of trying to decide how I want to add that little pop of pink, and I'm looking through the stamps to see if there's something else that I want to include as well. But I don't think I find anything else that I want to use. I do end up using that heart, even though I'm trying out some different things right now. I thought about using a stamp that says daily from a past stamp set, but decide not to. And the stamp sets, seriously, I say this every time, but the stamps are some of my favorite parts of the Felicity Jane kits. So I'm cutting out a little arrow that's in that kind of pink color to see if I can add that in somewhere to get my little pop of pink, and it's just not working. I don't have a spot that it works well in, and so I do end up going with that heart. I struggled with placing the heart there because I have that gold heart at the bottom, but I decided I didn't care and I just went for it. So I am just putting some thin foam squares on the back of that. Sorry, it's out of frame there. And popping that up in that little space where the journaling sits. And now I am going to punch holes in the tops of my tags, and I am just going to layer those up. I decided I want to put the date on that tag, and I don't have a specific date. These were from throughout the summer, so I'm just going to stamp 2015 and then write the word summer. And I'm doing it kind of close to the top of where that hole is because I know I'm going to tuck it in a little bit. And now I'm going to glue down my ice cream cone. So I'm just using some Scotch Quick Dry adhesive in one fine line bottle, and then in my other fine line bottle I have some multi-matte medium from Ranger, and that's in the 20 gauge fine line bottle. I know people have said they have a hard time with multi-matte medium in the fine line bottles, but I haven't had a problem with it in the 20 gauge. So I use that for the acrylic piece because it's a little bit more heavy duty. And now I am just running some thread, which is from a previous Felicity Jane kit, through those tags, and I'm just going to adhere those down. Just using my regular dot adhesive. And then I am going to, that sticker, I peeled off a little bit of the stickiness on it when I pulled it off the packaging, so I just added a little extra adhesive there. And I want to add something to the top. So I'm looking at the branding strips, which always have these really cute borders on them, to decide if I want to add one. And I decide to add this pink scallop here. And then I'm going to add, I think, a few enamel dots and sequins from these that came in the kit. These are from the Crepe Paper Wonder collection, which I love. And I am just adding a couple of the sequins and then the pink and the aqua dots there. So just trying to get a configuration that's pleasing to me. When I place the dots, I often do 3, and I'll do it so that 2 are next to each other and then one's a little off to the side. So that's kind of how I place them. And then I'm just going to add a little bit more mist. I think I'm going to still add a stamp, but I don't end up doing it. I thought about it though. And so I'm going to add some spray mist. I think I'm going to add a little bit more butter, and then I'm also adding a little bit in the Mr. Huey's Piglet color. Had to look at that real quick. And it looks a lot darker on this layout. When it dries, it's a little bit lighter. So you'll see that in the close-ups. And then, like I said, a little bit more butter, and then I added some gold as well to tie it all together. And that is going to complete it. Okay, since I loved this stencil from the August Felicity Jane kit so much, it's like a thin line stencil, I wanted to show you a few things that you can do with it. So in the process video, I showed you how you can just take some modeling paste and run it through the stencil. I'll show you that again in just a second actually. What I first want to do is just it's a nice just thin line, which is really cool I think with the modeling paste, but it's also really great for journaling techniques. So you could just even set it down and use it to draw lines. And you could skip every other line if you know that you, write a little bit larger, and you could hold it more more securely than I did. But this is great for just writing a little bit of journaling if you have larger handwriting like that. I think another fun way to do journaling with this would be to use it as a mask. So I'll spritz it. Let's do a color I never use. How about Mr. Huey's Clover? Okay, so what I'm going to do is just set it there, spraying it from kind of far away. And I'm fine with there being outside edges. I'm going to use just some tweezers to pull it up because I'm going to flip it over and see what it looks like stamped. So there you can see some nice journaling lines, or you could spray the mask and then flip it over and stamp it for a reverse look. Ooh, that looks cool. That looks really cool. So it kind of just gives a cool look. I'm going to try that again. I'll definitely be doing that. Okay, let me wipe this off. So like if I grabbed a couple of photos, let's pretend this one was a horizontal one. That could look really cute, like as a little journaling spot, and then you can just use the lines as a guide for your journaling. If you didn't want the hard edge on the outside, you would just need to cover up that edge when you're spritzing. But I kind of like it. I think it looks cool. So now let me show you the way that I had done it before was with some modeling paste. So you just you hardly need any really. And then you just rub it across the stencil. You could do this with paint or gesso too. I just like the dimension that the modeling paste gives. And I love that look. Let me show you up close. Wipe off my hand. Sorry, I've got the sun starting to come through here. You might not be able to get a good look at all. Let's see, let me zoom in here. You can get a bit of a better look there. So you can see the dimension that it gives. So those are a few ways that you can use that awesome stencil, and make sure if you use it with modeling paste that you clean it right after. So I'm going to go ahead and go clean this. Stay tuned for some still photos of the layout that I created. As always, thanks so much for joining me. I'll link to all of the products that are not found in this month's Felciity Jane kit below, as well as over on my blog where I'll have much more information. If you want to learn more about these beautiful kits, be sure to check out felcityjane.com and leave any questions in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.